Hi everyone, my name is Marisa Valenti and I am a corrective exercise specialist at Lightport Physical Therapy. Today I'm going to be talking about how to relieve some lower back pain through hip mobility exercises and some overall stretching. Now, a lot of the time, if you experience lower back pain, it stems from some dysfunction in the hips. So if your hips are cockeyed or some certain muscles are tight, there can be a lot of tugging and pulling, and you feel that in your lower back. So there are a few simple solutions that we're going to go through today. I have a more detailed video on Lightport Physical Therapy and Spa's Facebook page, so you learn a little bit more, but this is going to be a bit shorter, the abridged version, if you just want a quick watch. Okay, so the first thing you want to start with before you stretch are some warm-up mobility exercises. So you have a few muscles that you want to target. We want to bring blood to those muscles. We want to get them moving. Once they're moving, they're freed up a bit to have a better stretch. So your muscle fibers look like this. Once they're warmed up, they look a little bit more like this, which means when you stretch, you can get even further. Now, they're not quite as separated as that, but you get the gist. So the first exercise we're going to start with today is called a lower trunk rotation. You do not need a ball for this, but I just prefer to have one. I just got this $8 at TJ Maxx. It's a great investment. We totally recommend. I will show you the no ball modification in a couple minutes. So what you do, lie flat on your back, calves on the ball so your knees are at 90 degrees. Arms out nice and wide. Relax your head on the ground and lower to the front and to the back. Now the key here is to make sure your shoulders are on the ground at all times. If you go a little too far, you'll notice that your shoulder comes off the ground. That's surpassing your end range. So you want to stop just before your shoulders come off the ground and do this for about 2 minutes or for 3 sets of 10. If you don't have a ball, no sweat. Put this to the side, lay back, arms wide, feet flat on the mat, knees bent, and you just drop to the front and to the back. Same concept, keeping your shoulders on the ground. If you want to anchor them even more securely, take your belly button and pretend like you're pushing it through the floor. And you'll notice that your back and your shoulders stay a bit more stable. Okay, exercise number 1 down. Exercise number 2, double kneaded chest. So you can use a ball for this again. You do not need a ball. I will show you the modification after I use the ball. Once again, you want to put your calves on the ball, but this time your legs are straight. Arms come out wide, and all you do is pull your knees in and out. As you see, they got very creative with the name double kneaded chest. Now, if you want the most range on this, you want to start with your calves on the ball. Because if you notice, I can get to about here when my calves are on the ball. If I start with just my ankles and heels, I'm much more limited. My knees cannot get as far, and I do not get as good of a release. So it's important, calves on the ball. If you don't have a ball, once again, no sweat. Lay back. Legs extended, and this is single knee to chest, so you pull one knee in at a time. So knee comes into your chest, and with your hands, you can pull it in a little bit further and pause at the top for a nice extra stretch. You want to do that for about 2 minutes or 3 sets of 10. One pull on each leg is 1 rep, so you need to do 10 pulls on each leg to complete 1 set. Last hip mobility exercise. You don't need any equipment for this whatsoever. This one takes a little bit more. Wow, this thing wants to roll all over the place. This one takes a little bit more flexibility. So if you're still struggling with that, don't worry about it yet. You can work your way up to this one. These are called bear hip openers. So you're going to take your legs. I'll show you from this angle. Bring one up in the front so it makes half a square. And the other, you'll see, I do the same thing, but to the side. You can take your hands to support yourself. Let me change directions to get a better view. Support your torso. What you do, feet and heels on the ground at all times. Now what lifts up is your knees, and you mirror the original position. So butt, heels, feet stay on the ground at all times, and you're opening up your hips here. Now, if you have a lot of trouble staying up, if you're really finding yourself hard to stay up, that means you need to back off a little bit. We can keep this exercise for a little bit later. Okay, mobility is done. Time for stretching. First stretch, hamstring stretch. Now you can use a band for this. I have my trusty green TheraBand. You don't need to. I just prefer using the band. So let's go with the no band option first. Lay on the ground, bend both knees. Straighten one out. It doesn't matter which one because you'll be doing both sides. Lift it up. Grab your hands behind the thigh or grab the calf but not behind the knee. And you pull in until you feel a nice little tug in the back. Now, if you pull in too far, you'll notice that your knee starts to bend, and we don't want that because then you lose the benefit of the stretch. So you can just hold it here. You want to do this for 30 seconds at a time. So after 30 seconds is up, you relax. Another 30 seconds, relax, and you do that for a total of 4 times. So you get 2 minutes on each leg. Now, if you want to use a band, take the band, wrap it around the foot, keep that back leg bent, and you pull. Just like that, you're using your arms to pull forward. I also find that I can get a better stretch, and if you keep this around the ball of your foot, you can even add a calf stretch in there by straightening out rather than keeping it pointed, straightening out the foot like that. Okay, second stretch, lower back hip stretch, QL stretch. If you have poor flexibility on this one, this is going to be a little bit tougher, and you're going to need to modify it. In a perfect world, you want to keep your legs completely straight for this. I don't even have the flexibility to do this, so I'll show you the wrong way to do it and the right way to do it. So you start completely on the ground. Take one leg, it doesn't matter which one because you'll be doing both sides, and you want to cross it over your entire body. Now, if your shoulder comes back up, you'll see mine comes up a little bit. That means you're too tight to keep your legs super straight. So what you can do is bend them a little bit, and you'll notice your shoulder comes back on the ground. Once your shoulders are anchored, keep your arms wide and look in the opposite direction of the draped leg. So my right leg is draped. My toes are facing the left, so I'm going to look to the right. Hip stretch number 3, figure 4 or piriformis stretch. So I'm going to start by showing you this angle. You're going to bend one knee, take one leg, take your ankle, your foot, cross it over the bent knee so you make a little window right here. It looks like an upside down 4, which is why they call it figure 4. Now with the arm that is on the same side as the crossed over leg, you're going to take that. So my right leg is crossed over. I'm going to take my right arm, stick it through the window, my outside arm, my left arm. I'm going to meet around the back, keep my head and shoulders on the ground, and pull in until I feel a nice stretch in like my butt, upper thigh area. If you have a lot of tightness, you're going to notice that your knee starts to come in rather than staying completely parallel to a wall or, the surface in front of you. I even am guilty of this a little bit. So, modification. Feet on the ground, or the one foot on the ground, and you push the knee away so that it ends up being parallel to the wall in front of you. If you have a band, you can get away with cheating a little bit. So I'm going to double my band to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to come into my original position, take my right arm, stick it through the window. My outside hand is going to find the band, and I'm going to pull it in a little bit, just like that, using my arms. You can always get a little bit of an extra range on this. Once again, you want to do that 4 sets, 30 seconds. 3 stretches down, 3 more to go. This next one, in my opinion, is easy as one. You don't have to put in much effort. You're going to take your feet, put the soles of your feet together. You're going to lay back, knees wide, and let gravity push your knees towards the floor. And you just lay here. It's an inner thigh stretch. So even though these muscles are leg muscles, they severely influence your hips. So it's really important to focus on these as well. Second to last stretch is called a kneeling hip flexor stretch. It's a classic. Most people have seen it. So you're going to come up onto your knees, keep one leg down, take the other one, step it forward. And once it's forward, you want to lean into the stretch, tall posture, like someone's yelling at you for it. I should be able, if you have some lettering on your shirt, I should be able to read it on your chest. Rather than doing this, this is actually going to increase the stretch you get. So this is what it looks like from the side. Big step forward, lunge. Last stretch. Saving the best for last? Maybe. Depends on who you are. But this one can be done standing or it can be done laying. I'm going to show you the laying option today. So for this, you do need a bed or some type of surface you can hang off of. You need, I would say, maybe a foot off the ground at least, because we're going to drape our leg over. So you're going to lay on the edge of the bed. Your bottom arm can do whatever it needs to be comfortable. Back arm comes back. Now you take the top leg, whichever one that is, and you drape it over this side of the bed by crossing it over your body. Once it's draped, you look in the opposite direction. It is very similar to the QL stretch, except you get a little bit more stretch in the outside. This is for your IT band. Now, if you have some poor flexibility, which a lot of us do, you can move away from the edge of the bed a little bit and not drape it over as much. Okay, so those are your mobility stretches for the day, for the week. I recommend doing this every day. You can only use, at least 15 minutes, up to 15 minutes, whatever you can get. I know that right now we're all social distancing, so we have a little bit more time, but people have busy lives. So in the morning when you get up, before you go to bed, perfect times to do it. If you have any questions, feel free to email info@lightportpt.com. We are located in Caldwell, New Jersey, right on Bloomfield Avenue, if anyone is familiar with that area. We are taking new patients right now. So our contact information is on our website, www.lightportpt.com, or on our Facebook page. And I will once again provide the link in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next week.